7 better questions to find your purpose. Stop chasing passion, start building purpose. You know that feeling when you get asked, what are you passionate about? And you freeze because honestly, you're not sure. Maybe you've checked all the boxes, the career, the house, the life you thought would make you happy, but something still feels missing. Studies show that most of us, especially in today's world, wrestle with meaning at some point in our lives, sometimes even when life looks perfect on the outside. So we start searching, Googling late at night, reading all the books, listening to endless motivational podcasts, all hoping to finally answer the giant question, what am I here for? What's my purpose? Here's what I learned. The problem isn't you. The problem is the question. What's your passion? Leads us nowhere. It's vague. It's internal. It's all chasing some magical feeling. But purpose is different. Purpose isn't something you find lying around. It's something that you build, one choice, one act of service at a time. Today, I'm going to share 7 better questions to ask. Questions that actually help you discover what you're here to do, not by looking inward endlessly, but looking at who you can serve. In case we haven't met, my name is Chris Almanza, and I'm a career and purpose coach and speaker. I'm excited to get to work. Let's dive in. Why passion fails us. Did you know that 60% of young adults say their lives lack meaning? Despite success, despite following all the right advice. Why? Because we've been told to follow our passion, as if passion is this fixed, hidden thing waiting to be discovered like buried treasure. But like all emotions, passion fades. Passion isn't enough to build a life on. Purpose, on the other hand, purpose is built on contribution. When you shift from asking me what lights me up to who can I help, it changes everything. I'm here to give you better questions to ask that are going to lead you to clearer answers. The 7 questions. Question 1. What made you weird as a kid? Before the world told you to be normal, what were you obsessed with? Maybe you spent hours building elaborate Lego cities, or memorized dinosaur names, or put on backyard plays for anyone who'd watch. Those childhood quirks, they're clues. They reveal what you love before anyone told you that it wasn't practical. I've shared on here a few times that one of my loves is art, and the amount of people that have told me that's not practical is countless. And it's not my main job or passion, but it's still something I love to do today. I was obsessed with art since I was a kid. Looking back, it makes total sense that I'm still creating today. Action step. Pause for a minute. Write down 3 things you were weird about as a kid. Resist the urge to judge or limit. What patterns do you see? Question 2. When do you lose track of time? Psychologists call it flow. That state when hours pass by like minutes because you're so absorbed. This isn't just about fun. Flow's where your natural gifts meet meaningful work. Maybe it's when you're writing, or teaching, or building something with your hands, or solving complex problems. Pay attention to those moments. They're your internal compass, pointing you towards purpose. Whenever I paint, time passes by without having any awareness. I actually have to set an alarm to remember to stop or even to eat. As you're reflecting, note that this isn't about consuming. So streaming or scrolling don't count. Action step. This week, track when you lose time. What were you doing? What feels like it could have been had you given it more time? Who were you helping? Question 3. What do people thank you for? Here's a powerful truth. Gratitude is feedback. I have found that the hardest thing about finding purpose in the culture that we live in today is that we don't share life very closely or speak regularly enough to others in our lives. One of the hardest losses here is good feedback. We need to hear what we're doing well and not so well, and we need specifics. The things that people naturally thank you for reveal your gifts, often ones you take for granted. Maybe people thank you for making them feel heard, simplifying complex ideas, bringing energy into the room, seeing solutions others miss, being steady in chaos. You can't always see your own strengths, and others can see them more clearly. When I work with my clients, I'm often amazed at how little credit people give themselves. I know I was surprised when I heard unique feedback on my speaking and facilitation. It was the motivation that I needed to go down that path. Action step. Ask 3 people Has there been a moment when you can recall that you felt relieved by my presence or actions? What do I do that helps you most? Their answers might surprise you. Question 4. What's your sentence? Claire Booth Luce once told President John F. Kennedy, "A great person is a sentence." At the risk of oversimplifying, here's some examples. Nelson Mandela from South Africa. He transformed a nation by forgiving his oppressors and turning decades of suffering into a movement for unity and freedom. He shows us that purpose isn't just about what you fight for, it's what you're willing to forgive for the sake of others. Maximilian Kolbe in Poland. He gave his life in Auschwitz during the Holocaust so another man could live, proving that love is stronger than fear, even in the darkest places. He shows us that purpose often reveals itself when you give without expecting anything in return. And Mahatma Gandhi in India, he led millions to freedom without raising a weapon, showing that true power comes from disciplined peace, not violence. He showed us that purpose isn't loud, it's steadfast. It endures through quiet, consistent courage. So what's your sentence? Not your resume, not your job title, one sentence that captures what you're here to do. Here's some examples. He made complex ideas accessible. He built communities where people belonged. Don't overthink it and don't get lost in thinking it has to be final. You still have time to edit and create new parts of your sentence. If you have the time, I have one more request. If you were to die tomorrow, what would your sentence be describing the life you've lived so far? There might be a difference, and we'll come back to that difference between the two of where you want to be and where you are when more videos in the future. Action step. Draft your goal sentence. It doesn't have to be perfect. Start somewhere. Question 5. Where can you make the biggest contribution? Stop asking, what do I want? Start asking, where am I needed? Look around in your life, your family, your workplace, your community, your industry. What problems are keeping them up at night? What problems are keeping you up at night? What frustrates you about the world? Purpose lives at the intersection of what you care about, what you're good at, what someone actually needs, and how you can make a living. You don't have to save the entire world. You just have to serve the tiny corner of the world you can reach, and it will change in different seasons of your life. I saw teenagers needing leadership and guidance, so I started a faith-based program leading hundreds of teens over a decade to lead with better confidence and clarity. It was all volunteer work, and I did it on the side. Action step. Name one problem you could help solve this week. Then do one small action towards that goal. Question 6. What would you do if money wasn't an object? Imagine money isn't an issue. No bills, no pressure, total freedom. What would you choose to spend your time doing? This isn't about fantasy. It's about revealing what matters most to you. Most people would still work, just different work. Work that serves, work that creates, work that actually matters to you. The answer to this question isn't going to be about what is your purpose, but it can be one of the guideposts at getting clearer. Action step. Answer honestly, then ask, what's one small step I can take toward that today? Question 7. What will you regret at 90? Research shows that the number one human regret isn't failure, it's inaction. Starting that business, not taking that risk, not speaking up, not being bolder. Take a moment and picture yourself at 90 years old. What would that version of you beg your current self to do today? Would they wish that you had taken more chances? Would they wish you'd served more people? Would they wish that you'd been braver? This 90-year-old version of you is watching. Make them proud. The answer to this question should reveal something about what you truly desire and where you know that you're holding back. Purpose can be scary. I actually think most people are too afraid to even ask the question, what is my purpose? Sometimes we fear failure, and sometimes we fear success. Action step. Write down 3 things you regret not doing. Then commit to changing 1. Purpose through service. Here's what ties all 7 questions together. Purpose isn't about you. Purpose is about contribution. When you focus on using your gifts, serving others, solving problems, making a difference, you discover something profound. The more you give, the more meaning you experience, and then the more fulfilled you become. Not because you're seeking fulfillment, but because contribution is fulfillment. I promise you this isn't just soft self-help talk. It's backed by research. People with a clear sense of purpose live longer, handle stress better, experience more joy, and create more impact. And it starts when you stop searching for your passion and start building through service. The answer isn't hidden inside, it will be revealed in your life. A call to action. So here's your challenge. Pick one of the 7 questions and answer it today. Then take one action. You aren't going to find purpose in a moment of clarity sitting on your couch. I promise you. It's built through small, consistent choices to serve, to grow, and to contribute. You were made for more than accumulation. You were made to make a difference. Start serving, start living. I would love to hear from you. Which question resonated with you most? Share in the comments. If you want to learn more about how you can practically discover and live your purpose, subscribe now. As always, I wish you peace and success. Be blessed.